we know what's about to happen on the show. Today I woke up very happy. I won't lie. I actually went to sleep at 4 or 5 in the morning, rewatching the game, looking up a lot of different stats. Last week we were on the show, and Tua didn't have a good game against the 49ers. They didn't hear nothing from me. It's the best defense in the league. We just saw what they did to Tom Brady and the Bucs. I'm not going to say nothing. But this game, my main takeaway from this, Tua is exactly who I thought he was.
For the guys taking the over-under on the flipping aside, that's one already.
Now I remember Drew coming here week 2 with his notebook. I was the last name you read off. Every pod when Tua has a great game against the Texans and the Browns and the Lions, they fired their secondaries coach after that. Coming here with your sunglasses on, looking all cool and fresh. Tua's the best quarterback in the league. You read me all these fancy little stats out. He's number one in this. He's number one in that. Now, you said something to me in one of those shows. I diminished the things he's done by highlighting the things around him. Mm-hmm. For me, that's called analysis. So situations are everything. I
don't disagree.
And therefore, different situations deserve different evaluations.
Agreed.
I was coined the nickname Mr. Pick Aside.
Mr. Flip Aside.
Flip Aside, you're right. Something I've grown very fond of. Mm-hmm. But one thing I stand proud today with is that on Tua, did I ever flip? Every week, are you a franchise quarterback? Do you call him a franchise quarterback? Did I say he was that once?
I'm already getting angry. What do you mean you didn't flip aside? Because he used to be garbage. He used to not be a starting level quarterback, but now he's good. You won't give him the franchise label, which I'm fine with. I gave you that.
Oh, he'll never get that.
But hey, man, go ahead. Go finish.
2020, Tua got drafted.
Yeah.
The first take I made on Tua, he's Jimmy Garoppolo. Yes. Over these past couple weeks, did I say, maybe he'll get to Ryan Tannehill, maybe Kirk Cousins? Yeah. Did I ever put him in that top 5 elite tier? Not even once. He's good. You can win with him. He's not great. He's in the Goff, Tannehill, Jimmy Garoppolo tier. Good quarterbacks who can have a great season depending on the situation. Tannehill 2019 and 2020. Goff 2017 and 2018. Alex Smith 2017. Jimmy G 2019. This year, Jimmy G was having a great elite level statistical season. I never called him a franchise quarterback.
No.
I'm confident I never will. I just feel like I'm very confident that I never will.
That's fine.
And my reservations about Tua being called stubborn all these episodes are right to this point. He was throwing to wide open receivers all year. He has the most passes completed to wide open guys in the league by 15 passes, 2+ yards of separation or more. What was my knock on him? Pre-snap, he trusts what he sees. But post-snap, when things get muddy on him, he panics. The arm strength is a concern. He completed 10 passes this game. 4 came in garbage time. He completed 6 passes in 4 quarters. 36% completion percentage is the worst by a Dolphins quarterback in 40 seasons. You love to rattle off all these great stats. He's the first since Dan Marino. He's the worst in completion percentage. 145 yards, 1 touchdown. Here's what the Chargers did. They pressed at the line of scrimmage. They threw the timing of the offense off. They played man on early downs. Then on late down situations, they played zone. And what they really did is just pack up the middle. Drew Tranquil, who's the Chargers linebacker, said, we knew he loved to throw inside. They made him force throws outside the hashes. They took away the daggers, the in-breaking routes. Dolphins this year faced the lowest percentage of man coverage because teams were scared to press up on them. Chargers were the first team to say, you know what? We're going to press them because if not, they're going to beat us regardless. And on passes that were against man coverage, Tua went 3 for 13 with a 23% completion percentage when taking at least 2.5 seconds to throw the ball as well. So that tells me that when Tua's thinking about what he has to throw to, when he's trying to read, when he's going through his first, second, and third progression, Once he gets to the third one and it's not open, he doesn't know what to do. This was the worst game I've seen from a quarterback all season. The only one worse was Zach Wilson.
Okay,
that's what I was
Zach Wilson. I think Russ has had a lot of
Russ is up there.
A lot of bad ones.
Russ and Zach are definitely up there.
You've
But
seen some
my
bad Carson Wentz
goodness.
ones too. Like.
How about Joe Burrow against the Browns the first time around?
Oh, it was better than this.
How about Joe
Way better
Burrow
than this.
against
Yeah.
the Steelers?
Week 1.
Right?
Some bad ones out there.
I'm wondering.
I think Tua's is worse.
Oh, this was
This
bad.
was
I'm
bad,
just
but
saying,
Zach Wilson.
I just
There's a lot of bad
I
games.
just wanted
Zach
to
Wilson
shed a
game.
little light that Tua's not the only guy to have a bad game.
No.
That's it.
No.
Now, Tua, throughout these past couple of weeks, right, he beat up on a lot of bad defenses. This week, his completion percentage above expectation was minus 15.5%, a season low for him. It replaced a season low last week, which was at negative 14.5%. Now, here's some Tua stats for you guys. Tua in 2021, last season, had a 26 completion percentage against man coverage, and he was 29th in passer rating. This year, he's 30th in man coverage throw rate, which means he doesn't throw against man coverage often. He's 17th in completion percentage against zone, which means against zone, he's average. All season long, all I've been saying about Tua, let's wait until defenses catch up. The offense is new right now. Teams don't know what to do against them. They're still figuring out tendencies. And the Chargers, who were out, 6 starters on their defense. They had a backup secondary out there. Figured out a way to stop Miami's offense. And how can I not talk about Justin Herbert? Justin Herbert is phenomenal. And I know you like Justin Herbert, Drew. But the fact that you came up here and said it was a conversation was disrespectful.
Was it?
Calling Tua better than Joe Burrow.
I'm fine with that.
I had to sit through that and look you in your face as a man.
I always said he can be.
I looked you at your face as a man, and
Stay
it wasn't
on your 10.
it wasn't the first time Drew's done it. No, after Burrow went to the Super Bowl,
You're right.
Drew told me that as well.
I said he can be.
And I looked at him and said, "You're crazy."
He still can be.
And Joe Burrow this year's having an elite quarterback season. I know statistically Tua is still up there. He's number 2. He dropped down from number 1.
It's a shame, man.
But
How the mighty have
we
fallen.
knew what Tua was all along. And Justin Herbert, to have this great of a performance, I really want to give Justin Herbert his flowers.
Deservedly so.
Season high 367 passing yards. He completed 76% of his passes, which is the 5th highest completion percentage by any quarterback who's attempted 50 or more passes since 2007. He evaded a career high 5 pressures. Now, that's something else Tua can't do. He can't evade pressure like that. You saw he tried to spin around a lineman and he got sacked. I said, Justin Herbert gets out of that
like
right
he's
there.
done how many times already
Joe
this
Burrow
season?
gets out of that right there.
How many times has he done that already?
Keenan Allen, Mike Will back healthy. These receivers get no separation. It doesn't matter because Justin Herbert puts it on the money. He makes the most tremendous 5-yard throws I've ever seen a quarterback make before. Joe Lombardi is limiting him so much. And this season on the run, Herbert ranks first in completions, yards, touchdown passes, and completion above expectation. Something else Tua can't do very well, throw on the run. That's what separates the good from the elite. And we know what Tua is. He's good. He's not elite. We know that. Man, this was a great day. I think for me watching that game,
You needed it.
I had some jitters after that deep ball to Tyreek Hill. Oh, here are the Dolphins come. But then the next drive, I saw Tua miss guys. And I said, you know what? It's Tua.
Did he miss
I'm
guys?
fine. I'll sit back and watch this thing play out. Listen, Drew, there's still a lot of season left.
Definitely.
Schedule doesn't get
But
better.
last week, what I said it was true.
On the road.
Tua passed the quizzes. But if we're grading this off marking periods, man, the first 2, he passed with flying colors. And the third one, he's flunking bad. Oh, it looks bad. And he's going to Buffalo this Sunday. It's snowy.
Saturday.
It's a little cold. Ooh, man. I can't wait for this game.
38 degrees out there.
be
He
rough.
might have to wear the Miami Dolphins beanie you got on right now in that
He
game.
definitely will be.
Man, Drew. Listen, I hope he bounces back for your sake. I know you got stock invested on him on Mojo. He dropped me down from 15 racks to 12. I was irate.
Good.
Because you know what?
You don't deserve
Although
that
I
money
know
invested.
although I knew Tua wasn't great, I didn't know he'd be this bad. This was horrible. This was horrible. horrible.
Listen, man.
Oh, let me sit back.
I'm waiting for the rebuttal.
Yeah, the rebuttal.
Go ahead, Drew.
Listen, to call it very straight, Tua was not great yesterday. But it's bigger than just Tua, of course, because Tua is the quarterback. You get majority of the responsibility when you're great, but when you're bad, of course, you get a majority of the responsibility as well. So, of course, completing 35% of your passes is never going to do it. But also, prior to this game, it was common knowledge the Chargers were deficient against the run. In the first half, they only had 8 attempts. Jeff Wilson did get banged up. Raheem Mostert, 11 carries on the game. 30th in DVOA against the run the Chargers were prior to this game. It just did not seem as if they wanted to run the ball. You mentioned the yards of separation. Tyreek and Waddle have been getting open all season. They have one game of not getting open. I can't really be all too upset at them. Tyreek has been arguably the best receiver in the game this year. Jettis is right on his heels for sure, your boy. And Waddle's been money up until this point. Last year he got hurt. It looked as if he just didn't have that same burst yesterday. The boys couldn't separate. And even still, Tyreek Hill was able to get into the end zone. He's just a special player. 2 times.
Facts.
They were getting a lot of pressure on Tua. You said that Tua doesn't have great pocket presence. I strongly disagree with that statement. For his quote-unquote lack of mobility, he is able to maneuver around the pocket very well and still see throws. This past Sunday, unfortunately, that wasn't the case. But it's funny because Tua is not allowed a bad game. When you are finally breaking out and people have been down and out against you, they're waiting for this moment. And now I can't be too on my high horse because I was looking forward to these stretch of games because then it really would have been able to silence the doubters. But last week, he didn't put his best performance. I still wouldn't say he played bad. But this week, against a Chargers team that is just simply nowhere near the level of the Niners defense, it should have been a different story. But the game plan was a little skewed. Should have been running the ball a little bit more. Shouldn't have been trying to force the ball downfield as much, especially when your guys aren't getting open. You also alluded to him not being able to see a second, third read when he's made a feasting of that all season long. I'll give you a pass on that.
It's wide open, yeah.
But you mentioned playing against weak defenses, right? But we talk about Josh Allen like he's untouchable. Josh Allen, Mahomes, in a class of their own. You put Burrow recently in that category. I can respect that. He's having a superstar because I personally still would take Herbert over Burrow. But right now, statistically, Burrow's in that conversation where Herbert's lacking behind because his boys were hurt. Because situation does matter sometimes. But Tua versus Allen this year, right? Against the Browns, Lions, Ravens, Steelers, Patriots. These are the teams that Tua beat up on. These are also the teams that Josh Allen happened to face. The untouchable Josh Allen. 61% completion percentage from Josh Allen, 262 yards per game, 7.75 yards per attempt, 10 touchdowns, 3 INTs, 97.5 passer rating. This is Josh Allen, right? This is the cream of the crop.
Why are you attacking Josh Allen?
I'm not attacking him. I'm just highlighting how Tua against these trash defenses was 11% better than him completion percentage-wise at 72, averaged almost 70 yards more per game at 333, a full yard more in yards per attempt, 8.96, basically 9, 14 touchdowns, 2 INTs, 120 passer rating. Now, these trash defenses, other quarterbacks that I would still say are better than Tua, simply did not have nearly the game that Tua did. But because it's Tua, they're waiting for his moment to fall. Because this isn't just Josh Allen's streak where he hasn't been playing to level. We've seen Josh Allen recently not play to the Josh Allen we've known. Against Green Bay, he had 2 touchdowns, 2 INTs, less than 250 yards, but he won the game. So what does it matter? When you're winning ball games, it does not matter. This is a huge deal because he lost, and I can admit that. But I'm not sitting here overreacting. I sat here last year with this exact moment, basically similar, where Matthew Stafford had a bad game on primetime and had to sit here and I eat it. Because when you're confident in your guys and you trust in their abilities, all will be fine. You mentioned it and you said it very perfectly. Defenses are going to find out how to stop your offense. You're going to have to adjust. Like every team, people found out how to stop your offense. Now it's time to regroup and time to adjust. Mike McDaniel's done an unbelievable job right now calling this offensive play call. He's had a lull these last 2 weeks. I expect him firmly to adjust and the Miami Dolphins to get back. It's a hiccup. That's all it is to me.
Dehls, I'm gonna just say 5 sentences right here.
I want to hear Terrell's opinion too.
Yeah, I want to hear all you guys' opinions. Josh Allen is currently dealing with an injury.
And this is all prior.
I just want to say, as of recently, Josh Allen hasn't been himself because he's dealing with an injury.
Because against the Ravens, that was 2 weeks after Tua's breakout.
He had a game-ending drive, though.
No, for sure. Shout out to him. He won the game. But he didn't put up the numbers that Tua did.
When it comes,
there's been multiple games where Josh Allen just hasn't done it.
He hasn't been the guy good.
But he's winning. And winning
He always
masks
clutches up.
a lot.
All these quarterbacks that you're mentioning that Tua may have better stats than, the difference is that Josh Allen was perfect in the playoffs. Had a stretch in the playoffs where, oh my God, I thought he was Jesus.
He was great. Hey, listen, you're not wrong. He was
Joe
amazing.
Burrow, second year, just led a team to the Super Bowl. One of the biggest dumpster fires in the NFL in the Cincinnati Bengals. Tua has had a couple good games this year. Not even 10. Not even 10.
Wait, you
it
just
hasn't
said
even been double
You know what
digits.
a couple is? You know what a couple is?
A couple is like 4
two.
or 5.
A couple is 2.
The Patriots game was not good. The
It was the opening game of the season.
The Steelers
He did
game
what
was
he had
not
to
good.
do.
The Bengals
First
game
game
was
back
not
from
good.
concussion.
The Niners game was
Bengals
not
game, he
good.
got injured.
And
Are
the
you
Chargers game was
serious?
not good. 5
my
games,
God,
Tua was not
man.
good. In the Bills game, he made 1 throw. Are we serious? He made 1 throw that
bro,
game.
stop counting the Bengals.
I'm just saying.
bro, he
Okay,
played a
even
quarter and a
if
half.
I'm talking about that's
Four.
5. That's 4 or 5 games he hasn't been very good in. That's almost half of Tua's games. The thing about the Tua, this is why Tua's getting backlash. Tua's getting backlash because his fans put him in a category that he did not belong in.
Is that really why? Is
yes,
that why?
That's why.
Or is it
that's why.
Are they talking highly of him because all people have done these last 2 years is talk about him like he's dog shit?
We can acknowledge he's been through a lot, and we can acknowledge him for playing well and praise him for playing well, but people wanted to put him in a conversation that he did not belong in yet. People rushed the gun. And Dehls, you mentioned these stats, right? Mike White, he's the Jets quarterback currently.
Oh, God.
Right?
Shit.
Versus the Vikings, he had a 60 passer rating. Tua versus the Chargers had a 65 passer rating. Watching a game, who had a better game?
Mike White.
Okay. Stats don't tell the whole story. Mike White, according to this stat, was horrible against the Vikings.
Stats don't tell the whole story. Against these teams that I listed, Tua played better than Josh Allen every single one. True or false?
And the 49ers game.
I'm glad you looked over. You know the answer.
No, I think Josh Allen played better. He is the entire offensive system.
No, but Riv, who is the Josh Allen guy, just gave me a thumbs up because he knows that
Based
Tua
off
played
the
better.
numbers you just yes.
And forget
based
about
off the numbers, I don't go based off the numbers.
I'm not going solely based off the numbers.
I think Josh Allen is the entire offense.
But you just rattled off a bunch of numbers. You rattled off a
offense.
bunch of numbers to go through your argument. I'm just giving you numbers.
When it pertains to Tua, I'm not going over numbers comparing these players because it's different situations.
It is different situations.
And with Tua, I just want to say this is the last thing I'll say, and then you can go, Dehls. They put him in a conversation he did not belong in yet. And also the 49ers game. Mike McDaniel schemed a bunch of guys open. It was Tua missing throws that game. He was just inaccurate. That's why I thought the Niners game was a bit of a fluke, because I'm like, you know what? Maybe he'll be accurate next week, right? Because the Niners didn't figure out the Dolphins. Tua just missed throws. But against the Chargers, oh no, they clamped up and he was missing throws. I mean,
did he really miss throws? You're going to call that to Tyreek was a missed throw?
No, I'm not going to call that.
All right,
you know what I'm going to
glad.
call a missed throw and a bad decision?
Let's hear it.
Remember when he threw it down the middle and there was like 4 Chargers around that ball? Oh my God. Tua has so many of those happen to him that don't get caught, but defenders not securing those interceptions is definitely inflating his passer rating.
He's definitely gotten lucky.
For sure.
Terrell, I would like to hear your opinion on Tua. I'll go after you. I want you get you involved.
All right, bet. Tua from the beginning, like this is what I'll say. It was a lot of unnecessary Tua smoke this offseason. I think everybody had a great time with the he underthrows, he does this and that. People had a great time with that. And coming into the season, the boy was on fire. Like, we saw a complete flip, though, because the way people talk crazy about him and he didn't deserve it. Drew, I love you, bro.
Love you too, man.
We bleed the same orange blood. But people kind of got a little crazy with the Tua love, especially, and I got a question for y'all behind this, because I do think that there's still more that remains to be seen with Tua. I don't think these 2 losses mean that the Dolphins are frauds or whatever everybody's running with. What I do think is there's more to be seen. And my question to you guys, that I guess Dehls, you go ahead and start, would be, what role does McDaniels play in these losses, or are we just going to put it all on Tua? Now, I agree. Tua did not look like he was supposed to look in a statement game against Herbert, especially for my man Drew's take versus Joel. And that's why Joel has the Street Volume 2 money shot right now that he's cooking up, because Herbert went out there and just looked more poised. He looked like the clear better QB when it mattered. It wasn't like via the stats. It was, when it mattered, he looked better. But I don't think that's a super slight against Tua. But my question to y'all is, what role does McDaniels play? He's a new coach. I watch every episode. Y'all was talking about coach of the year. Now, last year they went 9-8. With the schedule that they have left, I'm not saying they're going to go 9-8, but do we still think that this Tua McDaniels duo is is it still something there, or is it is the air freshness starting to go away? Or? What do y'all think about that?
It's a fair question for sure, and we talked about it on last week's episode. We had tiers of AFC teams. I think all had, or at least us three. I think Drew had the Dolphins in tier 1, but we had the Bengals, Chiefs, and Bills in tier 1. I had the Dolphins in tier 2. Drew, asked me why I had them. You had them in tier 2 as well. Asked me why, and part of it was because we haven't seen it from Tua for a full season. This is Mike McDaniel, first time being a head coach, and you still have, although Tyreek and Waddle have been fantastic all season, the best wide receiver duo in the league. People. Damn, been the best wide receiver duo in the league this season. You still have to see, once defenses figure this offense out, once defenses take away that first option and things aren't wide open for the Dolphins, what does this offense look like? And I've kind of been in between you two, pause, this whole season, because Drew over here, we know he's the Tua guy. Joel, the biggest Tua hater probably on planet Earth, and not to call you a hater, but
am I a hater or am I a truther?
However you want to put it, you're a generational hater for Tua for sure, because you make excuses for a lot of quarterbacks. You never make it for Tua.
It's only for Zach Wilson.
And some other guys, but that's regardless. I think the biggest issue we have here is that people were trying to prop up Tua into that elite category. My good friend Drew to the left of me has had him in Joe Burrow's category, and he's not there yet, and that's fine. I put the same thing on Jalen Hurts that I put on Tua. You have to do it for a full season. You have to do it in the playoffs for multiple games, because we've seen offenses be amazing in the beginning of the year for multiple months, but once it's after Thanksgiving, it gets cold. You don't have everything going perfect. Armstead was banged up going to this game. Tyreek Hill gets hurt. Jalen Waddle was banged up last game. He probably wasn't 100% this game. When things aren't perfect around you, then what do you look like?